these no good nicks.
Let's do a little wager here. I feel like we're on the precipice of a little bit of history. Trump says that he's going to, over the next 2 weeks, he'll decide. 2 weeks.
That's not a verbal tick weird thing.
Yeah, and over the next 2 weeks, he'll decide whether or not he's going to bomb Iran. And then like when he had a flag planting ceremony the other day. Did you see this, Woody?
I know of it. I didn't see video.
So he's been putting in some flags at the White House. Some big boys. They're like 100 feet tall. They're enormous and very gaudy. And he's like, the rope's on the inside. These are the best flags. They're the biggest, the tallest. I think he paid for them out of his own pocket, and he's like touting that. And he's got all these workers behind him, and the press corps wants to talk about Iran, obviously. And he's like, who are you with? CNN? Nobody watches you anyway. And then he just turns his head away from her and starts shooting the shit with the Fox News guy. Nobody watches them because they're all corrupt. They're all fake. And she's like, but really, sir, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, they're all corrupt. Nobody watches. No one cares. And the Fox News goes, I think perhaps, sir, what she's trying to say. And he's like, yes, a man speaking. What's that? And he like takes the question. He's like, yeah, I'm not going to answer your question either. These are the biggest flags, the best flags. And they're like, are you going to strike? We've heard someone say this and that. And he's like, you don't know what I'm going to do. I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do. No one knows what I'm going to do. He said that. It was like, I kind of like this. He's winning me back over with his...
Really? With the madman theory of unpredictability?
Hey, I'll see what CNN article, like on the front page of CNN, I looked when we started, and it was something like Trump's rhetoric, 2-week deadline drives negotiators to rush back to tables. And it's like, I bet it does. He's put a ticking time clock on when he drops the 30,000-pound bomb. I hope we don't get involved, but what is your bet? Do you think we don't need to do the 2-week thing? Do you think Trump orders American pilots to drop American bombs on Iran?
I say no.
Yeah, he's generally been, I mean, first term, I mean, he was generally pretty non-confrontational when it came to, military stuff around the world. I mean, I don't know.
Killed that Iranian general with the samurai missile. They hated that.
Yeah, true.
Piss him off. Yeah, hopefully he doesn't, but
he's
got
a lot of very, very powerful.
Wait a minute. Do you want Iran to have a nuclear weapon?
He ramped up Afghanistan too. I think people forget that. Not only did he bomb the Iranian guy, but he put more troops in Afghanistan.
What I need to hear from to gauge the danger is that like troop of dorks who will be like, it's only 5 seconds to midnight on this clock that we make up. Fucking losers. They should be bullied out of whatever institution they do with their
apocalypse clock scientists out of this.
Get out of here. They blew their wad so early. Some guy in like the 80s ruined it for him where he's like, it's 4 minutes to midnight. And now everyone's like, fuck, there's not a lot of time left for us to do this. Couldn't he have said it was 7? It was 7:15 and a little balmy.
He was accurate. Nice. There's 2 or 3 incidents where nuclear almost began. There was one where they misread the radar and they ordered the strike, but they literally ordered. They said start the war, and the guy was like, "Wait a minute, let me just double check this again." It didn't. There was a nuclear submarine where like a Russian had to go into the missile bay, and I think he died doing it, defusing the bomb so it wouldn't go off. We've been very close to a World War III scenario many times with the Soviet Union, just because of the mutually assured destruction like parameters that everyone had established, where there were guns pointing from both sides at the other constantly with hair triggers, basically. And you had to be quick back then because there wasn't a nuclear triad. You had to get the bombers on the way. It was going to be some Dr. Strangelove apocalypse shit. And they came close multiple times.
Yeah, there was a Russian cat. I think it was during the Cuban Missile Crisis, possibly, but same deal. Like somehow communications got scrambled, and he got the launch code and was like not going to do it. They were supposed to stay at depth, but he popped periscope or something and realized it was not going down. But yeah, it was like this one.
I think it was a nuclear torpedo. I think it was a nuclear torpedo to be fired at the American embargo fleet. It would have destroyed the entire American embargo fleet, and that would have began World War III. That would have been it. If they nuke right off the 90, if they send a nuke 90 miles off the coast of Florida, blow up our fleet, and then put their ICBMs on Cuba, the bombers would have been in the air.
What was your take, Kyle? You think Trump is going to?
Yeah, I think he's going to do it. I think he's going to do it.
Do you?
Yeah, because I don't think the Iranians won't back down. They can't back down. The situation that I understand it as is that they have a mountain fortress where they enrich uranium, or they have something that we don't like in there. Who knows what's true, because they've been lying about what Iran has and wants to have for my entire life. Jon Stewart had a great montage of Netanyahu saying that they are 5 months away. He's like, that was 1996. And then he shows another clip. They're 2 months away. That's 98. And he like goes through the decades of the bullshit. So look, maybe, and I bet the Israelis and perhaps the American intelligence community would argue this, the reason that they didn't meet those 2 month, 4 month, 6 month, 2 year projections was because of our actions, the Israeli actions with Mossad, maybe that worm thing they sent in that fucked up the centrifuge.
Could have been bullshit from the get-go.
Could have been bullshit from the get-go. I'm open to that. George Bush lied to us and killed 1 million people and spent $1 trillion in the Middle East. I watched that happen. So it all could be bullshit. But I don't think Iran can back down. I don't think that the Israelis are going to stop their bombing campaign, and they're not going to be satisfied until that mountain fortress of nuclear material, whatever the fuck it is destroyed. And the only way to do that is with a bunker busting bomb dropped by a B-2 stealth bomber. That's the only way that happens.
If Trump bombs Iran, I think it wrecks the Republican Party for a decade. And I say that because Iraq did, right? When they bombed it, when they lied us into Iraq, and then it became very clear it was all a bunch of horse shit, that defined the Republican Party as lying hawks for a long time. And then Trump came along and he called out the other Republicans for being liars. He called out Jeb Bush, who was going back and forth on whether or not he was pro-Iraq or anti-Iraq. And Trump is like calling him on all his flip-flops.
You lied to us.
Bullshit. Yeah. And Trump was the guy who said Iraq was a $1 trillion mistake that we should have never done. And now the question is, will Trump make the same mistake? I think no. We'll see.
Yeah, I hope not, but I think
it has legs. The Trump always chicken out. Like, Trump always chickens out, you know? So I bet he does again.
I mean, hopefully I wouldn't see him not bombing Iran.
I mean, he's killed a lot of people.
I would see it as like good. Like no one, like the only people who are really stoked on a war with Iran are powerful politicians, lobbyist groups, like foreign nations.
Graham.
Like they're the people who are stuck. Lindsey Graham, scumbags like that. Like, no, I haven't talked to one like normal person who's like, yeah, I'm really stoked on it. It's going to be great. It's like, no, everyone's like, what? Again? Another one of these countries that has nothing to do with us? What the fuck?
One of my favorite things is like liberal women on Twitter call Lindsey Graham a faggot. like to his face. They're like, you faggoty little like debutante bitch. You couldn't fight your way out of a paper bag if there was a cock on the other side. What are you thinking?
In that case, I probably could.
Piece of shit. Go do something about your ladybugs. And like a paragraph of mean shit. Like I don't. They're like liberal like musicians and stuff. It's like, I don't know, lesbian fucking punk fans and shit. Just ripping him with the meanest homophobic shit you can imagine.
Dude, he deserves it. He's a war hawk scumbag.
I didn't realize he was in the Air Force.
He's talking about, he's like, we need land grab troops. We need to invade Iran proper. We need regime change. And it's like, someone needs to do something about you. They need to vote you out of office, dude. Who are you representing that wants to put boots on the ground in Iran? I've never met an Iranian I didn't like because I've never met one.
Ted Cruz, same thing, right? Ted Cruz acting like, you know, he's here. Blessed are those who protect Israel or something like that. Ted Cruz acts like he's on a mission from God to protect Israel.
He is. He believes he is. Tucker Carlson made him say those words. And look.
I'm glad he forced him to.
He said, "Do you believe that the Israel of the Bible is Netanyahu's Israel that we're talking about today?" Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We're commanded.
It was a government formed in 1948. And it's like, okay, sure, yeah, that's what it's referencing.
Yeah, Matthew, Albert Einstein, the president.
You're in the Bible.
He turned it down.
I am, yes.
Matthew, you're the first of the Gospels. That's incredible. I can't believe this has never come up. Surely things don't like change and like meanings adapt over millennia. No, it's definitely you. It's so retarded.
Yeah, so I think he'll do it. I think he's going to get backed into a corner, and he's. Immediately he sort of pushed Tulsi Gabbard to the side. He said, "I don't care what she said. I heard she wasn't invited to Camp David for the meetings. I see the Domino's service around the Pentagon is blowing up. For those who don't know, that's a real bellwether for military action. when you see that the pizza joints around the Pentagon are in like an overload mode, it means that all hands are on deck. What's that?
Did you hear the lobster and steak thing?
No.
So apparently it's tradition to serve the members of the military lobster and steak right before you ship them overseas, and that has happened. According to Reddit, that's my source. You can ignore it if you want. I don't trust it.
Well, we are reinforcing bases all over the Mid East with manpower and material. So they're flying planes. They're lots of refuelers and people are being sent over there. Hopefully, that is just being prepared for an Iranian attack on our bases, which is their mode of operation in the past would be to bomb our bases somehow.
I Googled it. I just want to say they did get lobster and steak, but they're saying it's because of the 250th anniversary. What the truth is, I don't know.
Did you see
go ahead.
Go ahead, Chris.
No, you. I'm going to the Dodgers. You continue your thought, please.
Well, we have an app that we use when we're cannonballing that lets us track any air flights above us, police aircraft tracking, speed
amazing
aircraft, that kind of stuff. And one of our guys is just like really into that. And he posted something the other day. It was like a shit ton of like KC-135 tankers all flying like northeast over the top towards Europe, like dozens and dozens of them. It may have been some training exercise, but yeah, it could have been staged up. And it'll point out if it's military, civilian, police, or, private, whatever. But yeah, he posted a screenshot and it was just like dozens of them from all over the lower 48 heading over.
It might be gifts to Israel.
Could be.
The bombers have been in position for over a month now. Remember, we talked about them putting the bombers, the B-2 bombers, on that base in the North Indian Ocean, within striking range of Iran, definitely with refueling. Although the B-2 bomber has